What if I told you that a tiny British 2-pence coin from 2001 can tell us a fascinating story about British currency, Queen Elizabeth II, modern coin manufacturing, and the changing world of coin collecting? Before you spend or ignore that old-looking 2p coin, take a closer look, because the details on this small piece of metal can reveal much more than its face value suggests. Welcome back to Coins Explorer, where we uncover the history, design, facts, varieties, and collector interest behind coins from around the world. Today, we are taking a detailed look at the 2001 United Kingdom 2-pence coin, a coin that was produced in enormous numbers but still deserves attention from collectors. In this video, we will examine exactly what the coin is made from, how much it weighs, its diameter, its design, its historical background, its mintage, and what examples may realistically be worth today. We will also discuss condition, proof examples, mint errors, and the biggest mistakes people make when trying to value a 2001 2p coin. So before you decide that your 2001 2-pence coin is simply worth 2 pence, stay with me until the end, because the real story is in the details. The coin we are examining today is the United Kingdom 2-pence coin dated 2001. It belongs to the modern British decimal coinage system that began in 1971. The denomination is written as 2 pence on the reverse side of the coin. The 2001 issue carries the fourth portrait of Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse. This portrait was designed by Ian Rank Broadley and was used on British circulating coins from 1998 through 2015. The reverse design was created by Christopher Ironside and remained in use from 1971 until 2008. That means the 2001 coin sits inside a very important period of the classic British 2p design. The coin is round and has a plain, smooth edge rather than a reeded edge. Its official diameter is approximately 25.9 millimeters. Its standard weight is approximately 7.12 grams. The thickness of the copper-plated steel version is approximately 2.03 millimeters. These specifications help collectors distinguish an authentic example from an unusual or potentially altered piece. To understand the 2001 coin, we have to go back to the beginning of Britain's decimal currency. The modern British 2p coin was first introduced on February 15, 1971 during decimalization. Before decimalization, Britain used a complicated pre-decimal system involving pounds, shillings, and pence. The introduction of decimal currency transformed everyday British money and made the system much simpler. The original 2p coin was introduced alongside other new decimal denominations. Early decimal 2p coins even carried the word new on the reverse to help the public recognize the new currency. That word was removed from the design in 1982. Over the following decades, the 2p became one of the familiar denominations of British everyday life. By the time the 2001 version was produced, the coin had already been in circulation for 30 years. So although a 2001 coin may look relatively modern today, it is actually part of a monetary design tradition that goes back to the beginning of Britain's decimal era. Now let's examine the front, or obverse, of the 2001 2p coin. The obverse features Queen Elizabeth II facing right. The portrait is the fourth definitive portrait of the Queen used on British circulating coinage. This particular portrait was designed by Ian Rank Broadley FRBS. Around the portrait is the inscription identifying the monarch and the year of issue. You can read the traditional royal legend beginning with Elizabeth II and continuing with the Latin abbreviations associated with the Queen's titles. The date, 2001, appears as part of the inscription. For collectors, these inscriptions are important because small details in lettering and spacing can sometimes help identify varieties or unusual strikes. The portrait itself was used on British coins for many years, so the 2001 2p is not a commemorative portrait issue. Instead, it is a standard circulating coin featuring the reigning monarch. That distinction is important because people sometimes assume that every old-looking portrait coin must automatically be rare. In reality, rarity depends on factors such as mintage, surviving population, condition, variety, and collector demand. Turn the coin over, and you will see one of the most recognizable designs in British decimal coinage. The reverse shows the badge of the Prince of Wales. At the center is a plume of ostrich feathers surrounded by a coronet. Above the feathers appears the German motto, Ich diene, traditionally translated as I serve. Beneath and around the central design are the denomination and surrounding elements that make the reverse immediately identifiable as a British 2p. This design was created by Christopher Ironside and was used for decades. It is therefore historically significant even though the 2001 coin itself was a regular circulation issue. One interesting point is that the same reverse design appeared on many different dates, so collectors often compare different years side by side. Looking closely at the feathers, coronet, lettering, and overall strike can reveal differences caused by wear, dye condition, or production. The reverse is also one of the easiest ways for a new collector to identify the denomination. When you combine this reverse with the Queen Elizabeth II portrait, you get the classic British 2p design associated with the late 20th and early 21st centuries. One of the most interesting facts about the 2001 British 2p is its metal composition. It is not made from solid bronze like many people assume. By 2001, the circulating 2p had been produced from copper-plated steel. The Royal Mint explains that copper-plated steel was introduced for the 2p in 1992 after rising global metal prices made the earlier bronze composition less economical. The new construction consists of a steel core covered with a layer of copper. This change created a coin that retained the familiar copper appearance while using a different underlying metal. It also gives the coin an important identifying characteristic. The 2001 copper-plated steel 2p is magnetic because of its steel core. This is a very useful test for collectors, although magnetism alone should never be used as the only authentication method. The coin's standard weight is about 7.12 grams. Its diameter is about 25.9 millimeters, and its thickness is about 2.03 millimeters. If your coin differs significantly from these specifications, it deserves closer examination. Now we reach one of the most important questions for collectors. How many 2001 2p coins were made? Published coin references give a circulation mintage of approximately 551.88 million pieces, with some references giving 551,886,000 and others rounding the figures slightly differently. This is an enormous production number. A mintage of more than 500 million means the ordinary 2001 circulation coin should not normally be considered rare simply because it is from 2001. This is one of the most important facts to remember when watching online videos about coin values. A coin can be old, interesting, and collectible without being rare. The large mintage also explains why examples can still be found in collections and old accumulations of British change. The Royal Mint's historical records also show that British 2p coins were produced in huge quantities as part of everyday circulating currency. Therefore, the date alone does not create a major premium. Instead, collectors should pay attention to condition, proof status, unusual varieties, and genuine mint errors. So, is the 2001 2p rare? The honest answer is that the standard circulating version is generally considered common rather than rare. One specialist catalog describes the 2001 issue as common, which agrees with the very large mintage. This does not mean that every 2001 2p has no collector interest. A sharply struck example with excellent surfaces and minimal marks can still be attractive to collectors. The important difference is between rarity and condition. A common coin in exceptional condition can sometimes be more desirable than a damaged example of an older date. Collectors also search for proof pieces, brilliant uncirculated examples, and genuine mint errors. These are different categories from an ordinary circulated coin found in everyday change. So if you have a 2001 2p, do not automatically throw it away, but also do not assume it is a jackpot. Examine it carefully, identify exactly which version you have, and then compare its condition with reliable market information. That is the professional way to approach coin collecting and valuation. Let's talk about value. because this is where online coin videos can sometimes become misleading. A normal circulated 2001 British 2p generally remains close to its face value. Specialist price information states that circulated decimal British coins are usually worth face value unless there is something unusual about the example. Market databases also show relatively low values for circulated grades of this coin. For example, one catalog's recorded figures range from only a few cents for heavily worn examples to modest amounts for better grades. Another reference lists approximate values around 24 cents to $1.18 depending on grade, while its uncirculated figure is substantially higher. These figures should be treated as guide values rather than guaranteed selling prices. Actual prices can change depending on buyer demand, certification, auction results, and the exact condition of the coin. Most importantly, do not confuse a catalog estimate with the price someone is guaranteed to pay. If your 2001 2p has heavy scratches, dirt, corrosion, or significant wear, its collector premium may be minimal. The story becomes more interesting when we move away from ordinary circulation pieces. Uncirculated examples can command more collector interest because they preserve sharper details and cleaner surfaces. A coin that has never circulated may show stronger design elements, fewer scratches, and better original surfaces. Specialist listings for the 2001 2p show substantially higher guide figures for high-grade uncirculated examples than for ordinary circulated pieces. There were also proof examples of the 2001 2p. Proof coins are specially manufactured collector pieces and are not the same as normal circulation strikes. Their surfaces and design details are produced to a much higher standard, making them attractive to collectors. One catalog records a 2001 proof issue and gives a higher guide figure than for ordinary circulated coins. However, proof status must be established properly. A shiny circulated coin is not automatically a proof. Collectors should look at the strike, fields, rims, and overall manufacture rather than simply judging the coin by its brightness. This is another reason why professional identification matters before claiming that a coin is rare or valuable. If you own a 2001 2p, one of the most exciting things you can do is inspect it for a genuine mint error. But this is also where collectors need to be extremely careful. Normal damage caused after the coin left the mint is not the same thing as a mint error. Scratches, dents, bending, discoloration, corrosion, and damage from machinery can happen during circulation. Genuine mint errors occur during the manufacturing process and can include unusual striking problems, wrong planchets, major die issues, or other production mistakes. If you think your coin has an error, start by examining the date, lettering, portrait, rim, reverse design, and overall shape under good lighting. Weighing the coin can also help identify unusual pieces. A strong magnet test can confirm that the normal 2001 copper-plated steel version has a steel core, but it cannot prove that a coin is a rare error. If something looks genuinely unusual, compare it with documented examples and consider professional authentication. Never clean the coin aggressively, because cleaning can reduce its collector appeal and destroy evidence of its original surfaces. Condition is one of the most important factors when evaluating a 2001 2p. Two coins with exactly the same date and design can have very different collector values because of their condition. A heavily circulated example may have scratches, flattened details, darkened surfaces, and general signs of wear. A high-grade example may retain strong detail, cleaner fields, and sharper lettering. Collectors commonly use grading terms such as good, very fine, extremely fine, about uncirculated and mint state, although exact grading should ideally be performed according to recognized standards. For a modern coin like the 2001 2p, surface preservation can make a particularly noticeable difference. You should inspect the Queen's portrait for wear. Check the reverse. Before believing any extraordinary valuation, authentication should come first. Start with the basic specifications. The 2001 2p should have a diameter of approximately 25.9 millimeters and a standard weight around 7.12 grams. The circulating coin should be copper-plated steel and magnetic. Its edge should be plain and smooth. Next, Compare the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II with known genuine examples. Then inspect the Christopher Ironside reverse design, paying particular attention to the ostrich feathers, coronet, lettering, and overall proportions. If the coin is dramatically lighter, heavier, or differently sized, that does not automatically make it valuable. It could have been damaged or altered. Likewise, unusual color does not automatically indicate a rare composition. Professional authentication becomes especially important when someone claims an ordinary coin is worth hundreds or thousands of dollars. A genuine error or special issue needs evidence. Remember, the goal is not simply to find something that looks strange. The goal is to determine why it looks strange and whether that difference was created by the mint. There are several common mistakes people make when researching a 2001 2p. The first mistake is assuming that every old coin is automatically rare. The second is confusing asking prices online with actual completed sales. Someone can list a normal 2p for a huge amount, but that does not mean buyers are actually paying that amount. The third mistake is cleaning the coin. Polishing can create unnatural surfaces and reduce collector appeal. Another mistake is calling ordinary scratches mint errors. A real mint error needs to be linked to the manufacturing process. People also sometimes confuse the 2001 2p with other British denominations or with the commemorative 2001 £2 coins. These are completely different coins. The 2001 2p is a small denomination copper-plated steel circulation coin, while some 2001 £2 issues were commemorative coins with completely different designs and specifications. Finally, never judge value from the date alone. The 2001 2p had a very large circulation mintage, so the date itself does not make it exceptionally rare. Even though the ordinary 2001 2p is not a million-dollar rarity, it remains an interesting piece of British history. It represents the long-running decimal currency system and the transition from traditional bronze to copper-plated steel. It carries the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II during the early years of the 21st century. Its reverse preserves Christopher Ironside's famous Prince of Wales badge design. It also represents an era when hundreds of millions of small denomination coins were produced for everyday transactions. For collectors, coins like this can be valuable as historical objects even when their monetary value is modest. A complete date collection of British 2p coins can show how designs, portraits, compositions, and production methods changed over time. The 2001 issue can therefore serve as an excellent example for beginner collectors. It teaches an important lesson. Collecting is not only about finding expensive coins. It is also about understanding history, design, manufacturing, and preservation. Sometimes the most ordinary-looking coin can become interesting once you know what you are looking at. So, what is the final verdict on the 2001 British 2p? The standard circulated example is generally worth around its face value, and specialist catalogs classify the issue as common. The huge mintage of roughly 551.88 million pieces is another reason the ordinary circulation version does not normally carry a dramatic rarity premium. However, high-grade uncirculated pieces, proof examples, and genuine mint errors can be different. Published guide prices show that better condition examples can reach modest collector premiums, while proof examples can be worth more than ordinary circulation coins. These are guide figures, not guaranteed prices, and the actual market depends on condition, authenticity, demand, and selling venue. Therefore, if you find a 2001 2p in your collection, do not immediately believe claims that it is worth millions. Instead, inspect it carefully and determine which category it belongs to. If it is an ordinary worn circulation coin, enjoy it as a piece of British history. If it is unusually well preserved or appears to have a genuine mint error, then further research may be worthwhile. And that brings us to the end of our deep dive into the 2001 United Kingdom 2p coin. We have covered its history, Queen Elizabeth II portrait, Christopher Ironside reverse, copper-plated steel composition, weight, diameter, thickness, mintage, circulation status, proof examples, condition, errors, and realistic collector value. The biggest lesson is simple. Never judge a coin only by its age or by an exaggerated online price tag. Learn the specifications, understand the mintage, inspect the condition, and verify any unusual feature before calling a coin rare. The 2001 2p may not normally be a fortune in your pocket, but it is still a fascinating piece of British decimal history. If you have a 2001 2p coin, look at it closely and tell us in the comments whether yours is circulated, uncirculated, proof-like, or has any unusual feature. And if you enjoy discovering the real stories behind ordinary-looking coins, make sure you stay connected with Coins Explorer for more coin histories, values, varieties, and collecting guides. Remember, sometimes the treasure is not just in the price of the coin, it is in knowing the story behind it.